Hey legends, welcome to the Pot Noodle on Celtic Down Under. I'm your host Jared, and joining me tonight are Shane and Willie. How you going, Willie?
I'm going all right, Jared. Busy man, but decided to stay up a little bit late to have a good old laughing at the Huns session.
The things you got to do. It's just
Yeah,
it'd be rude not to, wouldn't it?
it would.
And how you going, Shane?
Mate, I'm really good. Similar to Willie, I've been burning the candle at both ends a little bit lately, and but hey, look, that's what it takes. Sometimes you just got to roll with it, eh?
Hey, I didn't would not put that one as the pod episode. He wanted it, so he's thrown it in as he's starting off. Well played, sir. Well played. I'd tip my hat if I had one. Where's my tiara?
I'm
Anyway,
not. I'm not going to tip my hat at myself. That would be really weird.
yeah. Anyway, I was just trying to stir Shano up, but it didn't really work. But anyway, yeah. What's been going on, boys, and recently. Like, I don't know what's happening. I was just having a look through a few of the pictures that I had in the streaming app we've got here to start off with, right? And I have to start off with this one. You know, he's Martin, yeah, chasing his gain on us. I saw that and had to. Shane tapping the sign. And then there was these two from a while ago as well. It's good to be Youngster and the Yang Gang. Yep. There it is. It's all been happening. It's like, oh, too much to talk about, boys, really. It's, yeah, so we had the Derby, obviously. And I don't know. Where do you want to start other than we won the bloody game? You're guilty. We beat the Huns within 90 minutes for the first time in over a year. Brilliant. It's a good start. Went into that game pretty confident. Like, how are you feeling heading into the game, Shane? Got him when he's drinking.
There you go. There's the comeback or the throw my way when I wasn't expecting it. Confident but nervous. Glasgow Derby can throw up anything really when you think about it. And as you just reeled off, we haven't beaten them in 90 minutes for quite a while. And there was so much riding on this fixture. And we'd had a result go our way, the night before, basically. So there was an awful lot to play for. And whilst I was very confident we had them, and they're just a bunch of hammer throwers, let's be honest with you, you just didn't know. So confident, but a little bit on edge. Probably that's the best way to put it.
How are you going, Willie, leading into the game?
Yeah, I was pretty nervous actually, to be honest. Yeah, I wasn't too bad by the time kickoff came round, but throughout Sunday I was a bag of nerves. I got up. I was going to watch the Motherwell Hearts game. I ended up. It got to 1-1. I couldn't watch anymore. I had to go out and walk the dogs. I was that nervous. But when this game rolled round, once the game kicked off, I wasn't too bad. But yeah, the nerves soon started flaring up as the 9th minute hit when Mikey Moore scored his goal. But again, we got the win, so I'm a happy man.
It was kind of funny, like, all things considered. Like, going into the game, for me, yeah, I was confident. I was saying to my brother during the day, yep, we're going to win. It's happening. It's happening, right? So I was confident going in, saw our lineup, saw there's nothing to fear here. As Shane said, they're a bunch of hammer throwers. They're not a very good football side. We've played rubbish. They're rubbish. Hearts aren't that great either this season. So the fact of the matter is, Hearts have come up a rung, and us and the Huns have both dropped. We've dropped back a hell of a lot further than they have. But yeah, I think we've got more than enough quality in our team here to get the job done and to win this title. And yeah, it was funny. Like when I saw the starting lineup, I'm like, not a single January signing in the team. It's all the old Brendan players and even the Ange players before that in the team. So I was like, at least these guys have got got the know-how on what needs to be done and how to win a title. So yeah, I was confident going in, but then as you were saying, Willie, we get into the game and early on, I feel like it took us a good 15, 20 minutes to settle into the game. Like they scored early on and then we were a little jittery for a bit after that, and then we started to get into a bit of a rhythm and off we went. But how do you think the game went, Shane, in the first half?
I thought we started pretty well. early doors, and we had that early chance where Engels forced Butland into a save. He couldn't control it, and then Maeda unfortunately wasn't able to sort of bring the ball under control. Otherwise, he probably scored to go 1-0 up after basically 5 minutes. I thought we were going in pretty hard, but then obviously they scored first with much more, with the down losing the ball. And then I thought for probably 5 or 10 minutes after that, we struggled to sort of get a foothold in the game. And at that point, it took a little bit of time for us to sort of find our feet again. And they had a couple of chances, like Chamidi spurned one that they could have done better with. They had a couple of free headers. But then we started to get control of the game, and I thought for the rest of the first half we were probably the much better team. It wasn't good football to watch, don't get me wrong. It wasn't a perfect game. It was actually quite open, to be honest with you. But McCowan most certainly atoned for his earlier involvement and probably his relatively poor first half by getting involved in the goal with a wonderful pass to Engels, who squares it to Yang, tidy finish. I thought we were relatively on top at that point, and they were struggling. They troubled us a little bit from the set pieces, but apart from that, they didn't really have anything through open play. And to be honest with you, I probably thought we deserved to be ahead at halftime, even though we weren't.
Yeah, I think we're a bit wasteful going forward. Like Maeda could add a couple going into the half, could add two in each half. But Willie, what was your thoughts on the first half?
I thought the first half was a bit even Stevens, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, Rangers came out. It had that usual frantic start for a Glasgow Derby where it was sort of end to end, and then Rangers got their goal, and they did seem to control the game for a little bit. But as Shane says, we kind of got a grip of the ball, and started to play our own game and force it on them. And yeah, for a large part of that first half, we were the better team. But towards the end of the first half, Rangers started coming back into it, and I don't think Trusty was having a particularly good half of football. And every time they went forward, they seemed to aim the ball at him, and it just kind of put the fear into me that there could be something coming here, another sucker punch, because we do seem to shoot ourselves in the foot a lot this season when it comes to doing well and then just sort of letting it all slide out of nothing. So yeah, the first half, overall I thought it was pretty evenly contested. Going in 1-1 is probably a fair result.
Yeah, I think, Shane, you mentioned it before as well about the whole McCowan, atoning for his mistake at their goal, basically, not their first goal, their goal. And the thing that impressed me was Engels. He didn't really seem like, it's going to sound weird, particularly in the first half from when I watched the game back, right? But I don't feel like he did anything over the top that stands out, but his positioning and his breaking up play and then getting the ball to the right people in the right areas of the field, I don't think he made very many bad decisions on the ball during the game. And in this environment with those like stakes, what's on the line, it was actually really good to see that from him. And that's what you pay that level of money for. So I was really impressed by him.
If we're going to wax lyrical about him, I'm happy to join in, because he makes an immeasurable difference to this Celtic team. He seems to be being deployed more in a bit of a double pivot at the moment. He's definitely sitting a bit deeper. And you're right, his positioning's great, but he's also physical as well, right? He's not afraid to get stuck in. And I was thinking about this today. It's been a long time since we've had a player in that role who's a bit of a hard bastard and a bit physical and also knows the positioning well. And he's almost a little bit, even though he's not as far forward as we'd want him to be, or maybe we've asked him to be, he's kind of giving that freedom to Calmac a little bit to not do so much of the tracking and physical work, because he's able to cover that. He's able to cover the positional. He's able to cut off the passing lanes. I've been tremendously impressed with him. He's missed a significant chunk of football this season, Engels. He missed basically 2 months. We haven't lost since he came back into the team, and we've probably looked our most consistent as a team since his return to the starting 11.
Well, throw to you, Willie, because you put something in one of our group chats earlier about Engels.
Yeah, I was looking at some of his stats, and his defensive contributions for last night's games up at 9. And I mean, that's up there with Trusty and Scales, Tierney, and Johnson's numbers as well. So it just goes to show you, like when teams are trying to play through the middle of us, Arnie Engels is one of the main contributors in making sure that doesn't happen. He's stemming that flow coming through the centre of the pitch. And I had a little look back at some of his other games. The game against Falkirk, he was 8 defensive contributions in that game. Again, equal Ralston, ahead of Tierney, just behind Scales. And, well, I think that was a great game for Trusty. He had 16 there, but the guy, I think he's one of the most underappreciated players we've got in the squad. Like, chances created, he's in the 92nd percentile for chances created and the 87th percentile for goals scored. Okay, a lot of them are penalties, but he shows he has that cool head at him to be able to step up the spot from 12 yards and slot it away, you know what I mean? And his passing accuracy as well very seldom drops below 75%. And you can say that 25% that isn't hitting the target is the ones where he's taking the risk and he's trying to put the ball forward to players and it just doesn't come off. But for me, I think he's one of the most underappreciated players we have at the club. Right? And I think there is a certain small minority of our fan base who are going to be, when we lose him in the summer for big money, we'll see what a big hole he's going to leave in the team when he's gone. Because the improvement we have made since he's come back from injury, it's tangible. Like,
The thing you're saying there, Willie, as well is, like, yeah, he's doing all these defensive stuff, but then you said he's doing it at the other end as well on the attack.
yeah.
And Shane's saying he's playing in a double pivot. Means he's doing some of Kelmack's running for him. The way Kelmack did a lot of Bruni's running for him towards the end of his career, now he's flipping it over and covering for him, which is freeing Kelmack up. But I look at Engels and go, I feel like he's finally growing into his body, if that makes sense. Like at his age, he's filling out a bit and he's starting to figure out, okay, I'm like 6 foot tall. I can throw my body around here. I can know how to use it to leverage people, bump them off, hold them ground, that sort of thing. Where when he first came in, he seemed that little bit lightweight. He was unsure. Like he's come from Germany, which is very, technique-driven football. It's the helter-skelter speed they play over there that we've got in Scotland. But over here, it's fast and it's physical. But over there, it's fast and technical. So to come over to Scotland, I feel like this season particularly he's toughened up. And we're starting to see the benefits of that now as a more complete footballer. So got to give credit where it's due there. Shane looks like he's got something to say.
No. I was just nodding in agreement.
Wow, there you go. Yeah, so on to the second half. Willie, do you want to give a rundown of that?
The second half was like, it was just perfect for us. Like, we just came out of the traps and we just didn't let up on them. Like, we just came out, we got the ball, we enforced our game upon them, and it just showed. I mean, the possession was all us, the forward play was all us. We got our 2 goals and then we just sat back and let Rangers have the ball and let them try and attack us, and quickly realised that they just have nothing to their game. They can't hurt us from open play. But the 2 goals from Maeda, one was the sort of cross ball in from Yang. He gets the goal and you think, yes, that's us 2-1 up. Let's try and hang on to this one. But the third goal for us and Maeda's second, it's one of the best goals you'll ever see. Like, you know what I mean? It's up there with Larsson's chip against Rangers, and for me, watching it, it's just phenomenal. There's so many different things you see: his control, the way he flicks it up, the technique of actually getting it over his head, and then watching it kind of like in slow motion as it drifted over Batlin's head, and you watch Batlin just looking over his shoulder, and you just see the hands kind of flop when he realises that it's going to go in the net, and the way the ball nestles in the net. I mean, that's just hung that on the Louvre, mate. That was just a work of art, like.
Oh, just hold that thought right there, Willie, because you're saying to. So
There we go.
there you go. Or we can just put it on the side of a building too. But the thing for me, like with that goal, and I know we're going to be waxing lyrical about it and everything. How many times have we said on this pod that Maeda's first touch is just heavy?
A lot.
And that one where he popped it up for the overhead kick, I'm like, was that a heavy touch or was that actually what he meant to do? I can't tell. Doesn't matter how many times I see it. Like I can watch it on one angle. Like, yep, he's done that. And okay, that was up there, and he's just played on with it. But the thing, as you're saying there, Willie, you summed it up perfect. With the thing for me is the ball just goes over and just floats, and it looks like it's going to go high. Looks like it's going high, and then suddenly, whack into the net. Going to use the term that I haven't heard in a while. Into the old onion bag, bang. And the funny thing for me is when that goes in, you just watch the stadium for that 1.5 seconds or so, and it's like everyone hesitates, like, did that go in? Oh, it's a goal! Whoa! And everyone goes freaking mental. It was just that little bit of hesitation. It's like, is it a goal? Is it VAR? What's going on? Holy shit! That's when it's going to be shown and replays for the rest of our lives. Along with Larson's chip and a few others. So yeah, it was absolute cracking goal. My wife this morning, here's one for you. I'm sitting at work. She knows we won. Like I told her that, right? But she hadn't seen any of the goals. I was rewatching the replay. All of a sudden, she just messaged me she sent me an Instagram message, and it was of the goal with the commentary. And she goes, I watched that, and all I said was, holy fucking shit. Or something along those lines. So that kind of even got my wife out like, what the hell? So there you go. Good fun.
It's funny you guys touched on the slow motion thing because I'll give a shout out to friend of the pod, Vinny. When we talked about the goal, he mentioned very similar phrase to me, which I hadn't thought of it, and I think he said something along the lines of it's the most slow motion real time goal he's ever seen, and it genuinely was. Watching that, you were literally, as that ball was dropping and coming down, it genuinely felt like time slowed down whilst you watched it. It was incredible, but I don't think I can do it any justice in terms of just how good it was. There aren't enough superlatives to describe just how amazing that was. The only thing I will say is I don't think I've been that blown away by a goal since the Rogic winner in the cup final in the Invincible treble season. Genuinely, I was genuinely speechless, like I am now, and that's pretty rare if you've listened to this pod before.
Shane got wood, everyone. There you go.
It was just incredible. Like, it was seriously, like that'll be replayed for decades upon decades. And you're right, it is up there with Larson's chip. It's one of the best goals I've ever seen.
Well, considering it's only 14 years of the Glasgow Derby, it's probably the best goal in Glasgow Derby history. So we've got to give credit where it's due. So let's separate Larson's old firm goal because buddy Ian Crocker on commentary dropping that fucking old firm thing 4,000 times in the first 6 minutes of the game. I felt like my ears were about to bleed. They died, mate. Anyway, so I don't know what else to talk about in the second half. Like once that goal happened, it is what it is. Like I thought it was good control off us to sit back, just have the lead and just get through it.
They never came out after halftime, really. Like we brought Tanetki on, they never showed up. Like we bossed that first half, we got the 2 goals, and then we, as you said, we sat back and absorbed. Their only chances came after the game was well and truly gone, and it was party mode at Paradise. They did not look like it at all. And that second goal, like I know we're waxing lyrical about that third goal, and it is unbelievable, but that second goal is just really good forward craft, right? It's a ball over the top from Scales. Tierney gets to the byline, cuts it back. Maeda's ability just to run, get in front of his marker, get to the front of his marker so he's first to the ball and tap it past Butland, that is just really good forward craft. So credit where it's due. For someone who does spurn quite a few chances, and we criticise him a lot for it, and hell, he could have had 4 or 5 on the day, that was a really decent goal. Completely overshadowed by what he did shortly afterwards, but hey, doesn't matter. Roll with it.
Yep.
And again.
I've got a couple other things I want to bring up from the game, right? Number one, it's a good laugh. So it's his last appearance at Celtic Park. So disappointed for you that it ended that way. So I had to do that one just for shits and giggles, right? But the other thing, right, is late in the game, our guys looking and going, yeah, it usually takes a week for yellow cards and things to be upgraded, right? So now we're clean and clear. So let's just leave some studs in. Let's just belt some people around. Like 6 yellow cards in a game. I was like, I'm all for that. And you got the same against Motherwell. You can do the same there, and you're not going to cop it as long as no one gets a red. Then they'll be able to play against Hearts on the weekend. Was it Saturday or Sunday? I can't remember. Saturday, and we'll be able to go out there and just absolutely clatter people as well there. So it's brilliant. It was just, I thought it was good to see some, a little bit of grievous bodily harm and a bit of excessive force and just a few of these tackles and just smashing some people around. Like, I'm a bit of a fan of that sort of football occasionally.
The hammock throwers getting some of their own medicine in return.
Exactly, give it back to them. So we'll go through some comments and then we'll just go through player focus and then wrap the game coverage up here. So, yeah, what have we got here? Graham Bell saying, even when we went 1-0 down, I still believe that we would come back. What a result. Build days and a statue alongside O'Neill. There's one other person as well that needs a statue, the Bunnet. That's my list of 3. Maybe just for fun as well, get the Bruni as a statue one day. But who knows? Love this one, Michael Ross. Made a goal. Dermot saying, it was a long day in Tas, went to the beach in the Arvo. Nerves got worse as the day went on. Not great after 10 minutes. But once we got going there was only one winner. Yep. Happy days, Dermot. Got the result. Michael Ross, is it just me or does Rohl look like either Beavis or Butthead? Now, that's disrespectful to Beavis and Butthead. But yeah, he looks like he's wearing some sort of wig and dude, guy's like a twig. So, Vinny Dub. Oh, boys, what a win. How about that overhead kick from Maeda? Robert Gibson, what's he saying? I thought we started okay until the 9th minute. McCowan does his impression of a wanker.
I didn't know he could do an impression of Louis Palmer.
Yeah, I didn't know Louis Palmer was playing. Gabby boy, can't underestimate the influence the crowd have on the players, and I think that was a massive part of it too. And that was one thing that I did want to bring up, like seeing that sort of tifo. Now that's what we want.
Yeah.
Going in a battle, you've got a bit of, a bit of inspiration there. The fans are behind you. The active support area is full. The stadium singing for the full 90 minutes. Add in some of that, nice sunny day. It was great. A good day for it. Good performance, and yeah, Michael Ross is saying that was Engels' best performer domestically. Like we're touching on, Dermot's saying as soon as Engels was back fit, Martin O'Neill put him back in the team. Says it all to me. Exactly. Yeah, just scrolling through some more comments. Michael Ross, correct. Welsh can't play against his parent club.
No.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what's going on. So, any other players you want to give a bit of love to there, Shane?
I thought Kieran Tierney had a good game again. I thought he lifted for the occasion. We've talked about how he's been probably one of our more consistent players throughout what's been a really topsy-turvy season, and he was very, very good again yesterday. Obviously gets the assist for the Maeda goal that put us 2-1 up, but his work rate, he was getting stuck in. It's everything you want from a leader and someone who obviously knows this fixture and this club and what this kind of fixture means to this club. So shout out to KT, stood up again, as always, in the big games.
And Willie, anyone you want to...
it might come as a surprise to some in our group chat, but I'm going to throw hats off to Yang. I thought he didn't leave anything behind on that pitch. Like, you know what I mean? When he went off in the 80th minute, he left everything out there. Like, you know what I mean? He gave it his all. Okay, he's not the most skillful player, but he gave 110%. And do you know what? Credit where credit is due. I'm not in the Yang gang, but I was pleasantly surprised by that performance, and I was happy with it. Like,
it was one I was actually going to have. I had 2 other people to talk about. Yang was one of them, so I'll just quickly go on the back of what you said there, Willie. the fact that he was going to be sold and the only reason he didn't go was because we didn't have a replacement come in for him, and the development he's had this season is a good squad player for us. The fact that he's starting, ideally, if we had a fit, proper number 9, Maeda on the left, Jota on the right, he wouldn't even be starting. He'd be a bench player with him and Jamesy as the backup wingers. So, but the fact that impact he's made this season, like, good on him. Credit where it's due. The other player I wanted to touch on, this might sound weird because of a 3-1 win, but Sinisalo. You notice what I noticed watching the game back? Any time the ball's like up the front, like getting moved forward, who's marshalling the centre backs? Who's pointing things out? Cover here, cover there, constantly talking the whole game and running the show. You can tell he's been like, he seems more like a Joe Hart sort of keeper, the way he's communicating, than a Casper Schmeichel sort. And I just thought, I was watching that at one point going, oh, look at that. He's a lot more vocal than I thought. Good on him. And he's controlling things. And I felt Trusty and Scales looked pretty settled, second half in particular at the back. And that grouping that they had, Trusty, Scales, Sinisalo, and Engels in front of him, that was a good solid block for us. And yeah, it's just good seeing Sinisalo not just being the young keeper coming in, but actually holding his line to account, particularly in a high risk environment like that. One mistake and you concede in a goal. So yeah, have to give him credit too. I don't think a lot of others would have been talking much about him, but anyway.
There was a couple of occasions when I thought, oh, you're a bit high up the pitch here, mate. Like, what are you doing up in that centre circle? Like, get back a bit. Like.
I was talking, I could see you boys not agreeing with me, and I'm like, I don't care.
No, I didn't notice it as much. That's the only thing. I just didn't notice it as much. I thought you were going to give Scales some flowers because I thought he was actually, of the centre halves, I thought he was probably the pick. But he had a couple of crucial goal involvements or goal-saving involvements as well. But yeah, I just didn't notice the Sinisalo stuff. So it's good to see him marshalling the troops. I think this sort of locks on the theory that he should be our number 1 going forward, to be honest with you.
And the fact that the centre-back pairing is listening to him shows that they've got belief in his ability behind them to listen to him and trust him. So it's like, it shows that we're building something.
He hasn't put a foot wrong since he's come in, really. Like, I can't think of a moment where Sinisalo has looked out of his depth, or you've gone, geez, I wish we had a fit Casper back. Like, genuinely, he's come in and he has not put a foot wrong.
There was one goal, I think it was the Dundee United loss, that, if my memory's right, that he could have done better, but...
He hasn't put 2 feet wrong then.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's one in how many games? So, yeah, not complaining. Just looking at some of the comments here, like Dermot McCulloch saying KT 6 goals, 12 assists and is apparently finished. Engels was brewing and Calmack ran the show against the wonderful Baron. Scales had to cover for Trusty and he did the job fantastically. And Robert Gibson follows up with the best comment about Baron here. Baron is the result of a brother and sister marriage.
Just don't Google what Baron does with dogs. You won't like what you see.
Yeah, so... There you go. Gabby boy is saying Sinisalo is a confident boy. Yeah, so I think the last thing I want to touch on with the game, right? We spoke last week. Player of the Year awards. Goal of the Year given out. Hand your trophies back, Goal of the Year. Yang for our club one. And who was it over at Rangers who got the league one?
Was it Chamidi?
Yeah, that's the one. Whoever that is, Chamidi. Hand them back. They belong in on Dazen's mantelpiece now. Like, that's what we were talking about last week. The awards can be something stupid happen in the last couple of weeks. So I just thought I'll bring that up because I saw it was on my run sheet that I forgot to remove from last week.
It's genuinely maddening to have end of season awards before the season ends. That's all I'm going to say.
It is mental. There you go. I'll go there. So, fun times ahead. But I've got one thing for you. Who do you think just played in their last Glasgow Derby, other than Tav, right? Who do you think's played his last Glasgow Derby? Because I'm looking at it going, if that was Dazen's last Glasgow Derby and he had to move in the summer, what a goal is his last one in the Derby environment to sign out with, right? And then you look at other players there. If that's Engels' last one, well, he's done good as well. But is there anyone else that jumps out to you?
Not immediately. Like there's definitely a couple from the other side. Boy, Tavernier will remember that Glasgow Derby for the rest of his days, won't he? It was reminiscent of Andy Halliday getting a send off as well. That was just awesome.
41 minutes.
Yep, that's good memories there. Look, no one that immediately jumps out really, apart from potentially Dyson. Obviously Yang. You talked about Yang and the improvement he's made. He obviously could have been sold. We didn't have a replacement. Someone could come in for him again. That might be his last one as well. I don't know. It's a bit of an open question. We could see about 3 or 4. We could see a little bit more. Don't know.
What do you think, Willie?
I think there'll be a few from our team. Certainly a few more from theirs. Possibly a manager from both teams as well. So, yeah, I think there'll be a few. I think there's going to be a big turnaround at our club for certain in the summer. So, Maeda's probably his last game. It'll be Rio's last game. Possibly Engels and probably Negren as well. So, there's 4 you can name from our side at least, maybe even 5.
Yep, I have to agree on that. There's quite a few. We're going to have a bit of turnover at the end of the season, but it's needed. So, this is what Willie was referring to, everyone. Yes, I'll put that on the pod. Shane's like shaking his head like, goodbye, everyone.
Welcome to the Thursday banter, Shane.
I'm too serious for the Thursday banter.
Anyway, we'll go from there. So, Hearts dropped more points. We've been talking about it for a little while now about Derek McInnes being a bottle merchant. What's your thoughts, Shane, on what's going on over at the Diets?
Well, you guys have said it's been coming. I reckon on the pod I've been probably the one who's been the most hesitant to sort of say that they were done. And I've always kind of said when we've sort of been assessing the run home that they're really in the box seat. But if you look at form, we're in good form and they keep dropping points where they shouldn't be. And the margins were already tight for them that a couple of mistakes were always going to lead to an opportunity for us to get back into it. And now, really, it's almost effectively out of their hands, right? I know they're a point ahead, but they've got to play us at Paradise on the final game, right? And if all things go equal, if we get a win, we're going to be champions. So, I don't...
Do you want me to give you a stat here, Shane, just to try and get you to relax a little bit for it?
Yeah.
Okay. In Hearts' last 5 away games, 1 win, 1 draw, 3 losses. That 1 win was against a 9-man Hibs.
Which they had to score a late winner on as well, actually.
Exactly.
They should have finished with a point in that one. So, yeah, look, they're clearly sort of just scraping their way to the line at the moment. And, look, as we've said all season, really, if we'd actually had our house in order, this wouldn't be a title race. We'd be well and truly ahead. We wouldn't be having this conversation right now. But, yeah, look, I don't know what to say. They've dropped too many points now, and all of a sudden it's basically almost effectively out of their hands.
They're just trying to hang on. That's all they are. This is Wilfred Nuncia's fault and the dickheads who appointed him's fault. And we're in this title race, but it's good. It's a bit different, though. It's a bit different for normal. I think I got a few greys out of it. What are your thoughts, Willie?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I kind of thought Hearts would fall away, but then watching the rest of us squander points as we're going along too in silly situations, I kind of thought, well, maybe this might actually work out for Hearts here. But the draw against Motherwell, the Hibs game, I watched bits of that, and had Hibs kept 11 men on the pitch, then that would have been another away day defeat for them. So their away form isn't very good. So Wednesday night's coming around rapidly, so they'll play Falkirk, and Falkirk eliminated them from the cup. So I do hope they do bottle it, just to see Derek McInnes's head explode and the tears rolling down what's left of his face after the implosion. Like. But
Wait to
I,
see Great Derek again.
yeah, I can't wait to see it. Like,
The thing you got to look at, right, is so goal difference is now down to 3. They've got to, as you said, they've got to play Falkirk, which is a tough matchup for them. When I looked at the split fixture, Shane, you'll remember this because I said this so many times. The one game that jumped out to me, I wasn't scared of of playing Hearts at home or the Huns at home or Hibs. I didn't want to go to Falkirk and play on their pitch, so I was happy that we got Hibs away and we beat Falkirk. The banana skin for me was always this Motherwell game. And this is the one game that I'm iffy on. But I look at it at the same time, they've got a matchup that doesn't suit them either. And as you said, Willie, it's a team that knocked them out of the cup. So they're a point ahead. They could drop points. We could drop points. We could still be going in where, say, if we draw and they lose, we're even on points. Right? So we could be going in with it all to play for, like an old school sort of grand final on Saturday. It's going to be really interesting.
I think the goal difference is probably out of it by now. I think just with the way that the fixtures have unfolded, because we're a point behind with 2 games to go, I think unless... I can't really see a situation where we're going to need the goal difference to get us over the line. I think with what's unfolded now, it's basically win 2 fixtures and we win. We don't need to worry about the goal difference anymore. I'm trying to think of a scenario where we could basically end up on the same points and the goal difference to separate us, and I think that's gone now. So... yeah, it's going to come down to... It is all going to come down to paradise. All roads lead to paradise. It's... That game on Wednesday against Motherwell is going to be... Like, if I was nervous coming into this Glasgow Derby, I don't know how I'm going to be. It's about 5 a.m. our time kickoff on Thursday morning. I do not know how I'm going to be at that time. Not asleep. I probably wouldn't have slept yet. I'll probably just stay awake the entire night worrying about it.
Funny thing is, that's when my alarm would be going off to get up to go to work anyway. So I'll be like only half watching. If that makes sense. It's like, okay, I've got to get on the train and I've got to get to work and all that stuff in it. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun day. What's it for you, Willie? Like a 7 a.m. kickoff for you, is it?
I will be. I'll be at work. I don't know how. I'm so busy with my work. I'm not. I'm going to sneak off to watch this one. Like, but I have said since the split was announced that I've said to a few people that I think Motherwell are going to be the kingmakers in all this. Like, and it's still very much in their court. Like, and they've proved it so far by beating Rangers, drawing my Hearts. So hopefully it'll be a loss against us and. After the game, we'll get a nice wee picture of JBA and Martin O'Neill together at the contract signing, WWE style.
You know what
big Celtic top on and that. Like.
They can just do the old cheeky cuddle post game and shirt swaps. And suddenly, Martin's giving him his Celtic zippy to chuck on over the top. Done. There's the picture.
Yeah.
Boy, is that going to rile up so many people.
I don't know. See if he starts Andy Halliday, we know the deal's done.
He's got to do it. You know he's got to. No, did you see the quote from Scott Arfield, because he's like Livy's stand-in manager the rest of the season? He was talking about the game they were playing on the weekend, and he goes, "Oh, I rang up Mick Beale, blah blah blah, for some advice." I'm like, of all the people, you've had 4,000 different managers, but you ring up Michael Beale. I had not thought of that bloke until I read that today, and I'm like, dude. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we got the games ahead. So let's actually dive into the Motherwell game a little bit. So, what are your general thoughts heading into the game, Shane? Like from a tactics point of view. What do you think we're going to need to focus on to get the job done?
I think the most interesting thing is going to be around the wingers. I think Martin's a little bit unsettled with the wingers at the moment. You saw on the weekend he opted to pick McCowan, move Yang to the left and keep Tanetki out of the team, and it didn't really work. I I think he's got a little bit of a scenario to kind of work out now that AJ's back and bombing on, which he does a lot better and provides more width than Ralston did. So it's how do we use that to our advantage? I would be reluctant to try and go with that again. I'd try and go back to some traditional wingers, but likes of Stephen O'Donnell have been in pretty good form, right? So we've got to be careful, and he's scored a couple of goals as well, and he looks a threat going forward. So we've got to be careful with our winger selection as well. That's where I think it comes to. And also, obviously, how we manage their threats. Mahuanisi and just up top. How do we manage them? Because they've been clinical throughout this season, and they could easily turn what. I'm confident now. I'll definitely be nervous on game day, but they could easily turn something that is very confident into a very difficult fixture very, very quickly with how clinical they are. So, yeah, that's my initial thoughts on it.
What do you think, Willie?
Yeah, I'm worried about this one. Like, this is the one team I fear the most in the league at the moment because they actually do play really good football and they're not frightened to go out and have a go at you. I mean, players, as Shane says, he's a phenomenal talent. Like, he'll run all day long. Palmy North boy himself, so it's just down the road from me. You've got Maswanisi on one wing, Saeed on the other. Slattery just tucked in behind Just with Watt and Priestman sort of shielding the back four, helping push the ball forward. This is a very well drilled side and a very well organised side. And a team that's very capable of playing good football. So how we line up, we have to be very careful how we line up because if we leave any sort of soft spots in our team, they will expose us on it. Right? So we just have to be very careful with the selection.
The one thing for me is the Stephen Welsh thing with him coming out because I've got a settled centre-back pairing of Longallo and Welsh together. So I think that's going to be a bit of a factor because their fullbacks are pretty solid. They're set up, they know their role. The two inside of them set that platform for guys like Just and Watt, and those sort of guys in front to just do their job. It's like, who's going to come in and be that other centre-back? Because what I'm thinking, right, is the key thing when we play them is we know they've got the better wingers. And I've never seen Dazen so worn out post-game than he was after the derby. There's going to be some heavy recovery work going on for our boys. This is the sort of game where I think it wouldn't shock me if Martin started with big Kalachi and Hinacho up front, just because they're going to have that disjointed centre-back pairing, put a big battering ram on up front, and then you can keep Maeda for like a 30 minutes off the back, so you've got him fresh, ready to go for the Hearts game. I'm not looking past Motherwell, but I actually think the way they play and where their weakness is going to be with the change in the centre-backs, that would not surprise me if we went down that path. I don't know how you think, Shane.
Well, I think actually touching on the sort of who we're going to start up front is really important because one thing we haven't mentioned is the season Callum Waters had, and he's been a tremendous keeper for them this season, and he's kept the most clean sheets in the league. So we can't be profligate. If we get opportunities, we need to make sure we score because they've got, not only do they have, obviously Stephen Welsh being out means that their centre-back pairing is going to be a little bit less settled, but they've got someone between the posts that has been a very good keeper all season. So if we get an opportunity, we need to make sure we score. So that's Iheanacho. Out of our team, if you're asking for someone to score more times than not and actually be that clinical striker, that's Iheanacho.
And the thing with him is we only need to get an hour out of him. We're not going to get much more, but if he can start and give us an hour, and then we can look at it and go, okay, who do we want to put in at the striker for the last half hour of the game? Do we want to put Dazen out there to tick the legs over and keep him going? Do we want to put, I don't know who else we've got at striker off the top of my head. I was just thinking now, I just had a mental blank. But yeah, what else are we going to do up front? But
The one thing I wouldn't want to be doing is chasing this game. So I've often leaned on having Maeda up front first and then bringing on Iheanacho when we need a goal or if we need a goal. I don't want to be chasing this game. I don't want to be in a situation where we need to bring on Iheanacho because we're needing a late goal. I want to actually be front-running this one as much as we can to the point where we're 1 or 2 up and we can manage the game. I think that's going to suit us a lot better. I think if we try and sort of play this out and hope that we can jag a late winner or equaliser against Motherwell at Fir Park, I think that's going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I think we'll have to go for the jugular straight away and try and get the lead. And yeah, I don't know about playing any actual from the start. I get the sentiment, put the battering ram on up front, but I don't think he's got an hour in the tank. I don't even think he's got half an hour in the tank, to be honest with you. And that's why we have to go with Maeda. What I would do is I would put Yang back out onto the left where he's more comfortable, and maybe bring Jamesy Forrest or Taneki in and see if they can play on the right. And Negren, well, we seem to be stuck with Negren. He's a midfielder who can score goals, but he's an empty jersey, and that's my concern in this team, because if he goes missing, that's a pocket of space these Motherwell players can get in and about. And I might actually be tempted to start Rio Otati in this game to give us a bit of directness.
I was going to be funny buggers just then before you brought him up, Willie, and say, you know what, start Hinacho, and then last half an hour play Nigren as a false nine.
Possibly.
Let's not reinvent the wheel. Not that dumb.
Yeah.
We've got a nice little...
It's the end of the season, not the beginning. Like, we maybe get away with it at the start of the season, but definitely not at this point.
The thing for me that is, like, Maeda is the sort of guy where he's got 17 lungs, right? So he busts his gut during a game. But then you look at him and go, at the end of the game, how's he run that many Ks and then back it up the next game and do the same thing 3-4 days later, which he was doing early in the season with Europe and the league. So me going, yeah, he looked buggered, we should give him a break. I'm saying that. But at the same time, I'm looking at it going, oh, if we were playing in Europe, it'd be, you know, Sunday, Thursday, Sunday. Or if we're in the Champions League, you know, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday sort of thing. So he'd be used to playing 2 games. So I got to stop, you know, giving him an out here. Get out there and give us a good hour. Get it done.
Well, the only thing I'd say with Dyson is, and I'm a big believer in keeping players in that are in form, right? And he'd be absolutely buzzing about what he did on the weekend in the Glasgow Derby. He'd be raring to get out there again and try and repeat it. It's hard to keep him out if he's in that mode.
Yeah. I'll just playing devil's advocate before, you know how it is. With Nacho, just asked the question, but the rest of the team, I think will be the same as the weekend. I'd like to see the Ox get a bit of a game, get on at some point if we need a bit of physicality and a bit of veteran know-how in the middle. But get out there, win the game, and then let's turn it into a one-off game on Saturday at Paradise for the title. That's the way I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
How are you feeling going into that one, Willie?
I'm trying not to think about it. I'm trying to think one game at a time, but we're talking about players having to give all their effort. Like, you just need to give it your all against Motherwell and make sure we get the 3 points there, put the pressure on Hearts. And then the final game of the season against Hearts, well, the energy levels, you're going to be feeding off the crowd and the atmosphere that's there. So it's massive, like, you know what I mean? The focus has to be on the Motherwell game first and foremost, but I get it, we're not going to have another pod on Thursday after the game, so we need to discuss it, but hopefully we'll still be in the hunt for it at that point, and Hearts is patchy away form. Hopefully that will come back to haunt them again, but with near enough 60,000 Celtic fans and 600 Hearts fans, you really have to fancy your chances in that game, mate.
What do you think, Shane?
Similar to Willie, like, I'm very excited about the possibility. It's hard not to look ahead and see what could unfold, right? With that final day game at Paradise, potentially playing for a league title. But it's all a moot point if we go 4 points behind, if we don't get the job done on Wednesday night, Thursday morning, right? So agree with Willie, it all has to be on the Motherwell game, getting a result there, ideally getting 3 points. There is a possibility we could go into Saturday's fixture actually being on top of the league and just needing to get a result to actually secure the league title instead of having to win it necessarily. But it's hard to look that far ahead knowing that the next game that we've got is away at Fir Park, just with how good Motherwell have been this season and how much of a banana skin it's been for everybody. So, yep, similar sentiment.
So I was just looking through our last few games against Hearts, right? And this season, 2 losses and a draw, right? So we haven't beaten them in the league. I'm just talking about league games. They're in shit form. We're finding some form at home. It's there to be done, right? Get our first win against them in the season. Take home the trophy, right? But the equivalent game against them this time last year, Celtic 3, Hearts 0. 2 goals to Days and Maeda. There you go. And 1 goal to Jota. So I'm taking that as a sign that I accidentally just stumbled on that. That's what we'll get it done. It's going to happen. So, yeah, what we'll do is we usually, looks like it's going to be a bit of a shorter pod tonight, but all good. Willie looks a little tired. Doesn't have his milk for once when he's on the pod, so I'm a little shocked here.
I've run out of milk. I was raging. I might have to start with black coffee in the morning. That's not going to be fun, no?
Unlucky. So what we'll do is we'll just bring up a couple more of these again. So that's for you, Shane. Don't tap the sign. That is class. There you go. St. Martin at it again.
There's your statue.
Yep, there it is. So we'll go to our final thought. So you boys got one ready? Because I'm ready to go when you guys are.
Yeah.
I don't really. I'm just going to say roll with it. Roll with it, everybody.
Willie?
Look, Rangers and your fans, you made the top 6 this year. It just wasn't to be. You might get some points on the board, but don't be too disheartened. You can always come back next season and have another shot at it, okay?
My final thought's along the lines of what Willie is. The Huns fans are still running around shouting WATP. We are 3rd place. Yet again. Happy days. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Appreciate it. We'll probably see you next Monday. Fingers crossed we're champions again. So, see you then. Hail, hail.
How?
Yeah.